It was my first week of school in my hometown, Black Mountain, North Carolina. Quiet and almost sleepy, like only a small town can be. The Blue Ridge Mountains rose softly in the distance, and the mornings carried a fleeting warmth of early September. Kids wandered into school, backpacks heavy, voices echoing off the brick walls. It was junior year, and everything felt familiar. I slid into the back row of English class and immediately noticed her in the corner next to me, Desiree. She sat alone, curled over her notebook, every pencil and pen seemingly placed with quiet intention. She wasn't ignored in a cruel way like some kids were. She was more like a shadow, always there but barely noticed. When the teacher announced we'd be doing a partner assignment, I got paired with her. "Hi," I said, moving my desk closer. "Oh, hi." She glanced up, startled. Her voice was barely a whisper, her smile quick and uncertain before she dropped her eyes back to the notebook, as if she hadn't meant to be seen. We bent over the assignment. Her handwriting was tiny and precise, margins crowded with sketches I couldn't decipher. Now and then her gaze flicked up, then away. She felt fragile, untouchable, like a figure from a dream. After the first day, I kept noticing her. She sometimes sat like part of the wall, other times tracing invisible lines along her desk before snapping back to her notebook, as if startled by herself. One afternoon, the teacher cold called her to answer a question. The class waited, some stifling snickers, as if expecting her to freeze. Desiree's pencil hovered over her notebook, cheeks flushed. She started, voice barely audible, like she wasn't even sure she had a right to speak. I leaned slightly toward her, whispering, "It's okay, you can do it." She looked at me, took a breath, and then mumbled the answer, small and uncertain. From the front, a small voice cut through the quiet. "Wow, she actually can speak." Laughter rippled, more bemused than cruel, and the moment passed. The teacher moved on, and Desiree sank back into her notebook, movements measured, like a shadow slipping into the corner. Weeks passed, and September bled into October. The school corridors buzzed with fall season energy. Football practice, clubs setting up for homecoming, the faint scent of cider from someone's thermos in the hallway. I was on the field that Friday night, wide receiver, catching passes under the bright lights while the crowd cheered. It was chaos, and I thrived in it. But even amid the noise, my mind drifted. Across the bleachers, I thought I saw her, Desiree, at the edge of the crowd, clutching a notebook. But by the time I blinked, she was gone. It wasn't just the game. I started seeing her in odd places between classes. A flash near the library steps, a figure in the stairwell, or leaning against the locker just out of view. She didn't follow me, but she was always nearby, watching. "Dude, what's up with you and that weird chick?" my friend asked as we headed to the bleachers. I don't know," I said, shrugging. "It's weird. She's always around." He grinned. "Okay, well, get your head back in the game." By Halloween, the school's gym was a haze of orange and purple. Fake cobwebs hung from the rafters, paper bats clung to the walls, and dim lights cast flickering shadows. I wore my jersey, tweaked into a zombie athlete costume with fake blood across the front, while my friends laughed and danced around me. The music thumped through the floorboards, loud and pulsing. Later, I stepped outside for a breather. the cool night air cutting through the gym's suffocating heat. Laughter and music thudded faintly through the brick walls. After a minute, I slipped back in, the hallways dim and mostly empty. That's when I thought I heard it, a soft, echoing sound, like a cry or a whisper, drifting from deeper inside. A knot of dread pulled me down the empty corridor. Every step echoed too loud. At the far end, she was there, Desiree. The overhead light cast her in pale relief. For the first time, I saw her costume, a black witch's dress, pointed hat shadowing her face. Her eyes met mine. Then, without a word, she slipped through the heavy pool doors, the sound of them closing echoing behind her. I rushed forward and shoved the doors open. The chlorine hit me, sharp and heavy. The wide pool lay still beneath the muted ceiling lights, reflecting soft ripples of pale blue. And then I saw her, thrashing silently, hat gone, cloak spreading across the water like ink. Her hands broke the surface again and again. "Desiree!" I shouted. I dove in, cold biting through my clothes, reaching for her. But she was gone. The water heaved once, then smoothed. Nobody. No bubbles, just silence. I spun, gasping. The only sound, my own splashes. I didn't go back to the dance. My clothes clung cold and damp as I left the school behind. The night was quiet, the streets dotted with a few trick-or-treaters, their laughter sharp against the crisp stillness. By the time I reached home, porch lights blinked off one by one. I slipped past my mom with barely a word, dripping onto the rug as I hurried upstairs. I changed fast, pulling on sweats and a dry hoodie. But the chill in my bones didn't leave. Back downstairs, Mom held the candy bowl, relieved. I handed out the last pieces to witches and skeletons, barely seeing their faces. Later, the streets quieted. I must have dozed off in the chair, because the sudden doorbell jolted me awake. Groggy, I opened it. Fog spilled in, curling at my feet. And looming in front of me, Desiree, dripping as though she'd just climbed from the pool. Her hat tilted low, shadowing her face, but I felt her eyes on me. She didn't move. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "Trick or treat." The words froze me. Fog curled through the doorway. Then, the world tilted into darkness, swallowing everything in silence. I woke with a jolt. An old black and white horror movie flickered on the TV in the corner, casting jerking shadows across the walls. My blanket was twisted around me. Outside, the street was dead. That faint, haunting voice. It had felt too real. My hoodie, damp from sweat, my skin prickled with cold. But the room was empty, and I was alone. The following week at school, things slipped back into routine as if nothing had happened. The dance was old news, chatter already shifting towards Thanksgiving break. But Desiree wasn't there. Not in English, not in the hallways, not anywhere. At first, I thought maybe I'd missed her, or she was sick. A day passed, then another. By Friday, it was like she'd never been there at all. "Hey," I asked our English teacher, trying to sound casual. "What happened to Desiree? You know, she used to sit in the back corner?" The teacher frowned, then glanced toward the empty seat. "Who?" "Desiree," I repeated. "Quiet girl, black hair, always had a notebook." The teacher's expression softened into something almost dismissive. "What are you talking about, Nathan?" I didn't push it, But the longer I sat there, staring at her empty desk, the more the hollow space she left seemed to consume the room. My classmates laughed, traded notes, whispered about nothing. Nobody seemed to remember her. Nobody but me. Months passed. Winter thawed into spring. The school year blurring together. Football games, tests, gossip. Near the end of May, they handed out the yearbooks. One of my friends nudged me. "Hey, check page 41. They got you after catching a scoring touchdown." I flipped to it, expecting my grinning, sweaty face in the jersey. But instead, there she was, Desiree, standing in the crowd, faintly smiling, black hair across her cheek, eyes shadowed, features hard to make out. Someone behind me chuckled. Must be a joke, right? Her image was in my yearbook alone, taking the spot where mine should have been. My hand trembled as I flipped to the inside cover, the page where everyone usually left notes and signatures, empty, save for a single line scrawled in delicate, deliberate handwriting. "I am the echo you feel in empty rooms, the whisper behind the door. Come next Hallows Eve, I'll be there once more."